Hey, welcome to Vantage Relic. I'm Jimmy, and this is my channel, where we dig into the mysteries history left buried. Today's story is a strange one, so I'm not covering it alone. I'm calling in Dr. Sarah Bennett, an archaeologist who's spent years studying lost burial sites just like this one. Let's get her on the line.
When we think about, historical power, there's this deeply ingrained expectation of monumental visibility.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, it's almost as if architecture serves as the ultimate undeniable proof of existence. You know what I mean?
Right.
A pharaoh rules Egypt, and, the desert is scarred with the Great Pyramid of Giza.
Yeah.
An emperor rules Rome, and you get the Colosseum engineered to just dominate the city skyline for millennia.
Yeah, we totally expect absolute power to leave this heavy, undeniable physical footprint.
Exactly.
Because if you conquer the known world, the natural human instinct is to build a massive, permanent stone billboard.
Right, exactly.
It's basically a way of shouting across the centuries to guarantee your legacy.
Yeah.
Architectural dominance is usually the final crowning achievement of military dominance.
But that expectation completely shatters when you step into the world of the Mongol Empire, and specifically Genghis Khan.
Oh, yeah.
Suddenly, that physical footprint just vanishes entirely. We are looking at a historical blank space it's terrifyingly quiet.
It really is.
So today, we're diving straight into our source material, which is excerpts from a historical piece titled The Eternal Silence of Genghis Khan's Hidden Tomb.
A fascinating read.
Yeah, and the mission for this deep dive is to basically synthesize historical records, archaeological theory, and ancient legends. We want to understand how the man who conquered more territory than anyone in human history managed to orchestrate his own total disappearance.
And, the stakes here go far beyond just, like, a quirky historical puzzle or some archaeological scavenger hunt.
Right.
This is a profound study in how power, even in the vulnerability of death, can be wielded to enforce an 800-year silence.
Which is wild.
It forces us to examine how influence, loyalty, and honestly sheer terror can manipulate human behavior so effectively. An empire spanning half the globe simply erased its own center of gravity without leaving a single coordinate behind.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because to understand the sheer magnitude of this vanishing act, we really have to look at the psychological foundation of the man. Genghis Khan was not born a king into some stable dynasty. He was born Temujin around 1162 in the incredibly harsh northern Mongolian grasslands.
And the environmental and social brutalism of that specific time and place, it really forged his entire worldview.
Right.
When Temujin was still just a boy, rival clansmen poisoned his father. And in a deeply entrenched, clan-based nomadic society, losing your protector didn't just mean a loss of status.
It was a death sentence.
Basically, yeah. His family was cast out, they were abandoned on the unforgiving steppe. And in that socio-political structure, being clanless meant you were legally prey.
Wow.
Anyone could hunt you or enslave you with zero consequences. Add to that the physical reality of the Mongolian winter, where temperatures plummet to like minus 40 degrees, and abandonment was almost guaranteed to kill you.
See, the mechanics of how he survived that are just mind-bending to me.
That's for sure.
They were reduced to foraging for wild roots, hunting marmots, and constantly evading capture. I look at Temujin's rise as a modern masterclass in supreme survivalism.
That's a good way to put it.
It's someone taking the absolute worst hand dealt by fate. A situation where the world has aggressively tried to discard you and weaponizing that very vulnerability.
Exactly.
He didn't just endure the cold and the hunger. He used that trauma to develop an unmatched hypervigilance. He learned to outmaneuver, systematically dismantle, and eventually absorb every single rival threat around him.
He transformed complete social isolation into this unstoppable unifying engine.
Yeah.
By 1206, he achieved something this steppe had never seen. The scattered, warring Mongol clans, who had spent generations locked in endless cycles of bloody blood feuds and resource raids, were united under his single banner.
And that's when he was named Genghis Khan.
Right. And within just 20 years of that unification, the Mongol war machine pushed the borders of his empire from China's Pacific coast all the way to the edge of Europe.
It's hard to even comprehend that scale.
It is. And the paper trail for those conquests is massive. We have tax records, accounts of besieged cities, and intricate details of his military supply chains.
So the documentation is staggering. You have this massive geopolitical shift happening across Eurasia, meticulously recorded by the scholars of the nations he conquered.
Right, from the outside looking in.
But then we hit August 1227. He is on a military campaign against the Western Shia Kingdom, and he dies. And the contrast here is what sets up the entire mystery.
Yeah, it's like a switch flipped.
The details of the death of the man orchestrating global restructuring are practically non-existent.
The Mongol records from that specific window of time are deliberately thin, and that ambiguity is a highly strategic choice.
Interesting.
The circumstances of his death are scattered across all these conflicting, unverified accounts.
Right.
One history claims he died from internal injuries after being thrown from his horse during a hunt.
Okay.
Another insists it was a slow, agonizing death from an infected arrow wound sustained in battle. There is even a separate legend suggesting he was assassinated by a captured noblewoman.
Wait, really?
Yeah, but no single version of his death has ever been definitively confirmed, because releasing the true cause of death would have projected vulnerability to their enemies.
Oh, I see.
Information warfare was just as critical to the Mongols as their cavalry tactics. That deliberate blurring of the facts completely sets the stage for the absolute secrecy of his burial.
And his final order is really the ultimate extension of that information warfare.
Absolutely.
He wasn't focused on securing his borders or carving up the treasury for his sons or even publicly establishing the line of succession.
I know.
His final absolute command was that no one must ever know where his body was laid to rest.
And executing that order required an astonishing level of logistical brutality.
Yeah, it really did.
This was not a polite request for a private funeral. The burial procession traveled deep into the Mongolian landscape, and the soldiers guarding the cart literally killed anyone they happened to cross paths with on the journey.
Just anyone.
Anyone. Any nomad tending a flock, any traveler moving between camps, anyone who merely laid eyes on the procession was immediately executed to prevent them from becoming a geographic witness.
It is a gruesome, bloody Russian nesting doll of silence.
That's incredibly accurate.
Because the slaughter didn't stop with the innocent bystanders.
No, it didn't.
The soldiers who actually dug the physical grave and lowered his body into the earth, they were immediately killed by a second group of heavily armed soldiers.
Right.
And then, to make absolutely sure the secret couldn't be tortured out of that second group, they were subsequently slaughtered by a third group.
It's brutal.
It is a total human data wipe. I mean, you don't just delete the sensitive files, you physically destroy the hard drive, you burn the computer to ash, and then you execute the IT guy who built the network.
Yeah, they were systematically severing every single biological link to those geographic coordinates. What's fascinating here is how that absolute vacuum of factual information immediately became the breeding ground for cultural myth.
Oh, for sure. People need answers.
Exactly. The human mind abhors a mystery of this magnitude. So Mongolian oral tradition engineered massive layers of legend to explain the pristine state of the landscape.
What kind of legends?
Well, these are unverified, but they serve as a testament to his psychological grip on the culture. One persistent story claims that 1,000 horses were ridden back and forth over the burial site for days, churning the earth until the grave was completely indistinguishable from the rest of the natural steppe.
Wow. 1,000 horses.
Yeah. Another legend details how an entire river was painstakingly dammed, diverted, and rerouted to flow directly over the burial chamber, hiding it underwater forever.
See, my personal favorite is the decoy theory.
Oh, the decoy is a great one.
The idea that the ornate coffin carried by that incredibly bloody procession was just a theatrical distraction, while the real Genghis Khan was quietly buried in a modest grave somewhere entirely different by a handful of fiercely loyal companions.
And the thing is, none of those specific logistical stories can be verified through the historical record,
Okay.
but they illustrate a profound outcome. An empire that possessed the engineering capability to conquer walled cities and redirect rivers successfully erased the grave of its founding architect. They didn't leave a single stone out of place.
So we know the brutal lengths they went to in order to hide it, but the obvious question for you listening is where they actually took him. And the leading geographical theory points directly to Burkhan Khaldun.
Yes. Burkhan Khaldun is a prominent mountain located in the remote Khenti range in northeastern Mongolia.
Okay.
For historians, this isn't just a random coordinate pulled from a map. It is a location deeply embedded in his personal mythology.
Because of his childhood.
Exactly. According to oral histories, during those early, desperate years of his youth, when he was fleeing from rival clans who intended to kill him, he took refuge on the slopes of Burkhan Khaldun.
Right.
The dense forests and rugged terrain provided the camouflage that saved his life. And he reportedly swore an oath of eternal gratitude to that mountain, promising to honor it.
It is a poetic symmetry, the ultimate return to your roots.
Yes, very much so.
He begins his journey surviving in the mud of this mountain, and he ends his journey resting inside it. But Burkhan Khaldun isn't just a heavily forested peak. It sets within an area known as the Ik-Korek.
Right, the Great Taboo.
The Great Taboo.
It is a fiercely protected, massive wilderness region. Following his death, access to this area was strictly forbidden to the general public.
Just entirely closed off.
Yes. It was heavily patrolled by a very select group of government-appointed guardians known as the Darkab, and only specialized shamans were permitted entry. This wasn't an early conservation effort to protect local wildlife either. This was the establishment of sacred, spiritually charged ground.
Which creates a massive fundamental friction between Western archaeological methodology and Mongolian spiritual reverence.
It really does. In Western scientific traditions, we are conditioned to view ancient tombs, whether it is an Egyptian pharaoh's pyramid or a Mayan temple, as, puzzles waiting to be solved.
Right, something to crack open.
Exactly. Excavation is framed as a triumph of scientific discovery, something to be documented, cataloged, and celebrated in museum exhibits.
Sure.
But for many Mongolians, the perspective flips entirely. Genghis Khan is not a historical artifact. He is the spiritual father of the nation.
That's a huge distinction.
It is. In their belief system, disturbing the earth, where a patriarch rests, disrupts the spiritual equilibrium. Finding his body and exposing it to the air isn't a victory. It is a profoundly destructive act of desecration.
So what does this all mean for the researchers and historians who are desperate to solve an 800-year-old cold case? Like, how do you investigate a geographical site when you are culturally, legally, and ethically forbidden from putting a shovel into the earth?
Well, you deploy non-invasive technology to look without touching.
Okay.
In 2008, a researcher named Albert Yumin Lim launched a highly ambitious crowdsourced project to do exactly that.
Oh, I remember hearing about this.
Yeah, he utilized high-resolution satellite imagery, drones, and ground-penetrating radar.
That's a lot of tech.
The objective was to digitally map the topography of Burkhan Khaldun and the surrounding Great Taboo. They wanted to identify unnatural anomalies beneath the surface, completely bypassing the need for physical excavation.
Right. And you feed all of that into the system and you get incredibly detailed images of the terrain. But they absolutely did not find a tomb.
Nope. Nothing conclusive.
And I have a theory about this because this is the part of the narrative that fundamentally bends my mind.
Let's hear it.
I want you to really think about this failure of technology for a second. We live in an era where AI algorithms can process millions of satellite photos to find a single missing aircraft.
Yeah, true.
We have orbital lenses that can photograph a license plate. We use LiDAR to peer through the Amazon canopy and find sprawling, lost Mayan cities in a matter of days.
Right.
How does a massive imperial tomb evade 21st century technology? I think modern archaeological tech is inherently biased.
Biased how?
Well, our algorithms and our radar are trained to look for right angles, cut stone blocks, and unnatural concentrations of metal, the signatures of Roman and Egyptian engineering.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
What if untreated wood deep in the earth without massive stone sarcophagi, he would simply decompose back into the soil.
Wow.
There would be no density contrast for the radar to bounce off of. Nature basically becomes the ultimate cloaking device.
That's a really compelling point. The reliance on detecting unnatural geometry is a massive blind spot for remote sensing in this specific context.
Right.
Because the Mongol approach to burial was seamlessly integrated with natural landscape,
Right.
not superimposed over it.
Exactly.
And beyond the technological bias, there are three severe physical barriers preventing discovery. First, the legal barrier forces researchers to fly completely blind.
Right, the taboo.
Exactly. Mongolia enforces the sanctity of the Great Taboo with absolute strictness. If a satellite scan identifies a rectangular shadow that looks perfectly like an underground chamber, well, physical follow-up is illegal.
You just can't go there.
You cannot hike in, drill a core sample, or dig a test trench to verify the data.
So you are basically staring at a smudge on a screen, and you are explicitly forbidden from walking over to see what is casting the shadow.
Exactly. Now, the second barrier is the geography itself.
Okay.
The Kenti Mountains are incredibly rugged, but more importantly, they are choked with dense, ancient taiga forest.
Lots of trees.
Thick canopy of pine trees, and incredibly complex interwoven root systems. All of that creates a massive amount of static interference for ground-penetrating radar. the signals just scatter.
That makes sense.
But the third, and perhaps most insurmountable physical barrier, is the sheer depth of the Earth.
Right, let's talk about that, because when we talk about ancient burials, we usually picture something just like below the frost line.
And maybe 6 feet down.
Exactly. So how deep are we realistically talking for a Mongol emperor?
We have to look at the historical precedents of the region. The Xiongnu were a powerful steppe confederation that predated the Mongols by over 1,000 years.
Okay.
And they deeply influenced Mongol culture. Archaeological evidence shows the Xiongnu buried their elite rulers in unmarked, timber-lined graves as deep as 20 meters underground.
Wait, 20 meters?
Yes, that is over 60 feet deep.
Digging a 60-foot shaft in the middle of the wilderness without mechanized excavators is an absolute engineering nightmare.
Oh, entirely.
They didn't have steel shoring to hold the dirt walls up. They would have had to dig a massive terraced inverted pyramid just to prevent a catastrophic cave-in on the laborer.
And the sheer volume of displaced earth is staggering.
It would have to be.
If you dig a 60-foot deep chamber, you are removing hundreds of tons of loose soil. If you just leave that soil next to the grave, you've accidentally built an artificial hill.
Which is basically a giant neon marker that tells every grave robber exactly where to dig.
Precisely. To maintain the absolute secrecy demanded by his final order, the burial detail would have had to transport all of that displaced earth miles away from the site.
Oh my God.
They would have needed to painstakingly scatter it across the steppe, so the natural topography remained entirely unchanged.
That requires an army of laborers working in perfect coordination, all of whom, as we know, were then likely executed to maintain the secret.
Exactly. So if Genghis Khan's loyalists buried him 60 feet down, under a mountain surrounded by ancient roots, our most sophisticated ground-penetrating radar is basically just skimming the topsoil.
Yeah.
This raises an important question, though.
Yeah.
With all this effort, the satellite scans, the historical theorizing, what is it that people actually expect to find at the bottom of a 60-foot shaft?
That's the million-dollar question.
Right. If researchers could miraculously bypass the dense forests, the extreme depth, and the legal taboos, what is waiting in the dark?
Well, it is the classic cinematic expectation. Exactly. We are conditioned to expect mountains of treasure. Genghis Khan didn't just conquer empty grasslands. He annihilated 3 of the wealthiest, most technologically advanced powers of his era.
True.
He systematically dismantled the Jin dynasty, he crushed the Tangut Empire, and he took control of the unimaginably wealthy trading hubs along the Silk Road.
The wealth must have been staggering.
Right, so the legends naturally suggest that the architect of that conquest must be buried with the spoils.
Naturally.
There are modern estimates floating around the internet confidently claiming that his tomb holds hundreds of billions of dollars in looted gold, silver, fine porcelain, and ceremonial weaponry.
But critical thinking is essential when evaluating those claims.
Oh, absolutely.
Because human nature is highly susceptible to the allure of a treasure hunt. We want the golden sarcophagus encrusted with jewels. But the archaeological expectations for a 13th century Mongol elite burial are vastly different from an Egyptian pharaoh.
How so?
The Mongols, even at the height of their imperial wealth, were deeply pragmatic people, bound to their nomadic shamanistic roots.
Right.
Archaeologists do not expect to find a solid gold tomb. They expect to find a simple, sturdy wooden coffin, likely placed on elevated ground within the burial chamber, which, by the way, aligns perfectly with the geography of the mountain legends.
So the idea is that they were equipping the dead for a continuation of their life on the steppe, not trying to impress the gods with shiny metals.
Exactly. They believed the next life required practical utility.
Right.
If you break into a high-status Mongol tomb, you expect to find a finely crafted quiver of arrows, premium riding equipment, a composite bow, and perhaps the Khan's personal saddle.
The things you actually need.
Right. These are the tools required for a warlord in the afterlife. Those internet estimates claiming hundreds of billions of dollars are purely speculative financial reconstructions.
Oh, I see.
They are calculating the total gross domestic product of the empires he destroyed, and wildly assuming that all of that wealth was physically poured into the ground with his body.
Yeah, they are measuring the economic devastation lost to the historical record rather than inventorying what is actually sitting in a vault underground.
Precisely. And the irony is that the most valuable thing buried in Bergen Khaldun might not have any monetary value at all.
Really? What would it be?
The true treasure, The holy grail for historians would be the missing written records of the Mongol Empire.
Oh, wow.
If the tomb contains documents detailing their internal political governance, their complex military strategies, or the original text of their cultural laws written in their own language, things that have entirely vanished from the historical archive, that knowledge would revolutionize our understanding of human history.
That's incredible.
It would be worth infinitely more than a vault full of stolen Jin silver.
Here's where it gets really interesting, because when you weave all of these logistical nightmares, cultural taboos, and technological failures together, you are left with a legacy that almost defies comprehension.
You really are. When you strip away the mythical folklore of dammed rivers, the legends of thousand-horse stampedes and the ghost armies of the steppe executing bystanders,
Right.
you are left with one incredibly plain, undeniable fact.
Which is?
The man who violently, brilliantly, and ruthlessly redrew the map of the entire known world ensured that he left absolutely no coordinates for himself.
Yeah.
He achieved total architectural erasure by design.
And I want you to ponder a deeply complicated hypothetical scenario based on everything we've explored today.
Okay.
We live in an era characterized by data leaks, whistleblowers, and total satellite surveillance.
Very true.
If by some technological miracle, the Mongolian government secretly pinpointed the exact definitive geographic coordinates of Genghis Khan's burial tomorrow, would they actually tell anyone?
That is a fascinating question.
Would they hold a global press conference and invite the world's leading archaeologists to bring their excavators? Or would they look at that irrefutable data, lock it in a secure vault, and let an 800-year-old secret stay exactly where it belongs, protected by the earth?
It really forces us to confront our own modern assumptions about the nature of power.
Right?
In our current era, every single inch of the globe is digitally mapped, tracked, and uploaded for public consumption. We constantly broadcast our own locations.
We do.
We operate under the assumption that building a massive digital footprint or constructing a giant physical monument is the only way to ensure we are remembered.
Exactly.
But perhaps the ultimate unmatched flex of absolute power isn't building a giant stone pyramid for tourists to gawk at.
Yeah.
Perhaps true immortality is possessing the power to orchestrate your own total, permanent, flawless disappearance.
Yeah.
Forcing the entire world to chase your ghost across the steppe for 1,000 years and never letting them catch you.
We started today talking about how we expect absolute power to be visible, to carve its name into the skyline.
The Mongol Empire proved the most enduring monument a ruler can leave behind might just be a question that can never, ever be answered. Thank you for joining us as we explored the mechanics and the mystery of history's greatest vanishing act. Until next time, keep diving deep.